Hey guys, I had actually just recorded a video to show you how to do a donut. And when I went back and looked at it, I realized that half the donut was out of the screen. So here, this is me doing this video again and hoping that this time I can show everything to you in clear view and we start from the beginning. As you know, I'm doing a series of videos, tutorials on fun items because Valentine's Day is coming up. And yeah, what better way to sort of commemorate the day? Although I feel like something like this should be celebrated every day. But just with like some fun tutorials and ideas for you guys to sort of do for cards or digital prints or maybe even custom paintings that you want to give to your loved ones. So I hope you guys are enjoying the series that I'm putting out. And today we will do a donut. And for my cheesy line, stay tuned. I will either mention it at the end if I remember, or I will definitely make sure I mention it in my post. So if you're following me on Instagram, you'll definitely find it there. My handle is Hello Clarice G. And if you're following me on Facebook, you'll also find my post on there. So let's begin. For this redo, I am going to use, so as you can see, I've swatched some colors here. So I really like the blue. I'll use the blue. I will use that color for the donut itself. I might use the orange because I am going to do a blue donut this time. And then I will use that for a shadow. I'll definitely use the pink part of the sprinkles. So let's begin. I'm also using my watercolor pencils. For those of you who are new to them, they are amazing. Instead of using regular pencils, the watercolor pencils, you can do your drawing and then you can just sort of use the water and it kind of blends in with your painting. So that's amazing. And if you're looking for the brand that I have, it is the Carrot Aquarel, yeah, by Stadler. Yes, you know what I mean. So let's begin. So I'm going to use this, and also for brushes, let me tell you what brushes I'm using. I am using my Silver Black Velvet in 8 and 4, and then just like a regular 6. All right, so let's begin. I do also have these little guys outside, just so they're easy to grab. And these are from my set of St. Petersberg White Knights. Okay, so you don't need a whole lot of drawing skill for this because it's quite basic. It's pretty much just a bunch of circles. So let's do a circle. So I'm going to do the inside circle first this time. And just very roughly, you're just drawing it in very roughly. Let me just make sure this is centered on screen as well so you have a good idea. And then I'm going to do the outside circle. And I'm doing it the color of the dough, so that it is, so it blends in nicely. Kind of overdid this end, so I'm just going to close that in more. So I made a mistake there, so I'm just going to let that go because I can't find my eraser right now, but let's just keep that in mind for later on. Okay, so this is clearly a smaller donut compared to that, but that's also because of the space that I'm working with. Oops, shaking, sorry. Okay, so I did that. So I've just drawn the basic shapes, a circle inside a circle, and then I'm going to use my slightly darker brown, and what I'm going to do is just kind of go in just on one side of the inner circle and very lightly kind of do some shading, and this is just to give it that shadow look. All right, And then I'm going to do the same thing on the outside of this, because we want the shadow to be this way. And again, just very light strokes, nothing intense, and just kind of like very light shading. Okay, this is just to remind me, because when I did this one, I completely forgot about the shadow on the inside. All right, so we're good with that. And then now what I'm going to do is I will now use my blue for the icing on the inside. So keeping in mind this is the main area, I am going to just kind of go in and roughly do like a wavy pattern that frames the circle, leaving a little bit of a gap. What I'll also do to this is I am going to shade it in a little bit on the inside, just so that when I go in with the water, it'll spread more and it won't be light. So just light shading as per what we did on the outside. We're just doing it on the inside for the blue icing. All right. And you want to give your shape. Okay. I can hear my son coming up. Yep, he did come upstairs from the basement. I paused the video for that right on time. And so now I'm going to do the inside, an inside line to sort of highlight where the blue ends. And again, make it wavy, just like how the icing normally is. And then I'll just do a little bit of shading all around right there. All right, okay, so that's good. Now, so I have my basic drawing in. Now I will go in with my brushes. So for I'll start with the outside first. So for the outside, I'm going to start, actually, you know what? Should we jump in with the blue first? No. Let's do the outside first. So we'll do the 6 for the outside, and literally all I'm doing is dipping my brush in my soiled water from doing this one right here. And yeah, you want to get fresh water, guys. Honestly, just don't go by my bad habits, please. And then I'm just going to go in and start spreading the water around. And I don't want my brush to touch my blue, because if I do, then it will kind of spread. And so what I'm also doing is, oh, I forgot to show you this color. So I'm also using this color from my St. Petersberg, and I'm going to swish it around as I paint the outside, okay? Because I want that variation of browns for the donuts, because that's what it looks like in reality. And so I'm just going to keep going. Okay, my son is back. I'm going to pause this. Sorry, guys. Mom duties. All right, so I'm just going to go in using that. Let me move this brush out of the way. And I'm just dipping like small hints of it and swishing it around so it gives it that 2D look. And then taking more water on my brush, but making sure that it's not too watery. I'm going to go back in. And remember, we have the shadow on the outside, so we don't want the colors to mix, okay? So let's make sure that that doesn't happen too much, because they do need to look different. So I'm just going around and I'm making sure that we get that nice donut-y look. From the edges to everywhere. All right, and just gonna use a little bit more here and give it that circle. And it's okay if you give some of the hints to the edge of the icing as well, because, you know, light and dark and shadow and all that good stuff. Especially on the side where the shadow is actually happening. That might be a good idea. This seems to be a little bit too dark, but let's just see how it goes. Make sure you have some tissue handy on the side, and you can always kind of just take off some. And then just use your water to blend. All right. So this is what we're doing. And I'm sorry if you can hear my dryer as well. It is a Saturday. I know, because Valentine's Day is coming up soon, so I was like, I need to do another video of this fun little thing so I can put it out for you guys. All right, so that's that. And now I'm just going to do the inside ring as well, since I have this color going. Make sure my brush has enough water. Make sure I'm not touching the blue as I am painting this in. And then also keeping in mind that I have my inner shadow right there, but I'll leave that for last once I have everything else done, okay? So what I will do is I'll just take a little bit of this. Oops, it's a little too saturated. Water it down a bit and just kind of go along this edge. And this is essentially for the shadow of the icing. Literally a hint of it. And just because we don't want it to look like all one tone. All right, so just like the outside you do it on the inside as well. All right, so that's that. And now I'm good to go and start the blue. This is the fun bit. Now I'm going to use my bigger brush for that, just because it'll be easier to spread around. I'm using my number 8. And first I will start off with just going in and painting this blue around, and then I'll use a bit of this one right here. And then it's very similar to this, like the swatches right here. Let me just show you. That's the swatch right there. So it's very similar to the blue. And I'm just gonna go in. And making sure that my brush is just touching the edges right there. By now your actual donut area should be all dry, so that's fine. Now I'm going to go in with my blue. Oh, actually this blue is a little bit duller than the one I have going on, but that's okay. I will do this. And the thing about going dark and light is that that's the beauty of watercolor. It all blends in so nicely that you can get some really nice effects. Still swishing it around. And I will leave some white space between, because that's nice to show if the icing is kind of shining or what have you. And then use the darker color on the edges, just like I did on that side. Gives it a more defined path as well. And you have that nice blending in. Just make sure you don't go over. All right, so there we go. This part excites me, just to see the colors blending in. It's just so exciting. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but I know I certainly do. Okay, so I just kind of went ahead and did it to speed up the whole process. And just blending in the colors. Okay, so I like the lights and darks happening in these areas, so I'm just kind of enhancing it some more. So much more exciting to look at that way. Okay, so that's that, and I will stop coloring it in. And now I'm going to go and do the shadows while that dries. And for the shadow, I'm going to use, what did I tell you? I was going to use like this darker brown that I have. And so I've wet my brush, and I'm just going to go with the brown and highlight, paint in this area right here, which is surrounding the donut, just like the shading that we did. Okay, now the brown that I used from the watercolor pencils was clearly a lot more lighter than this brown that I have here from the watercolor paints itself. So what I will do is I want them to blend nicely. So I'm just going to take this, and while this area is still wet, I'm just going to very carefully fine line the edges. And then this way it looks like from dark to light, like a nice gradient effect. Right? And then I want to do the same thing. I'm just going to make sure there's a little more of this brown swishing around here. Oops, maybe a little bit too dark. But I want it to have that monochromatic effect. So like this, just kind of move things around. Right, and then just clear off the brush, and with just using plain water, just touch up the edges so it doesn't look like an abrupt end to the paint. right? So then make sure your water is clean and you just keep going. Yeah, so then it kind of blends in. You see that? So it's like a nice smooth effect. And now I'll do the inside. And again, I'm going to use the same brown. And just very lightly do the curve. Then using just water on my brush, just going to blend that area in so it's smooth. Oops, this is still wet. All right, so you have that very mellow blend, and it's like, I love it. Yeah, I love it so much I can't even finish my sentence. That's what it is. So I'm just blending it in, making sure I don't overdo it too much. There we go. And I am going to let it go at this point because this is perfect. Like, to me, this is perfect. And now the fun part's left over, which is the sprinkles on top of the donut. Let me see if this is actually dry. It actually does feel like it's, oops, this area is not. But most of it does feel like it's dry. So I will use the number 4, and then what color should I use for this? I'm just not sure what would turn out really well because it's the blue turned out to be quite dark, or I made it quite dark. So I'm gonna try and do this color. Let's try. Actually, no, let's go with the red pink first, and let's see what happens there, and then we can move on to the orange, because I just feel like this is a safer bet. It'll be dark, and all I'm doing is literally just doing a dot or a circle. I want to make sure you're just using the tip of your brush. So just make sure it's damp enough, and that when you go in, you're getting just the tip. And so you just do a little bit of a circle and you kind of move on. This is still damp here. So I'm just gonna turn over the sheet so I can have access to the areas that aren't so damp. And oops, so see this area is clearly wet. Huh, okay. Just gonna stick to the areas that I know are not wet. And that's what we have. You know, I think I should just wait. Let me just wait for it to dry some more and then pick up as soon as I know it's dried. Okay, so while it was drying, I just kind of went on just the outskirts of the, whatchamacallit, the icing, and I just gave it a very slight, like, dark coat of paint. But not, like, I didn't spread it all around, just towards the edges, hugging the edges. And again, it gives you that kind of 3D look. And I didn't quite do it over here. So you can see the difference, like what a big difference that can actually make. You can see some of it over here, but over here you can kind of notice it more all around because I went in darker too. That's the other thing. So huge difference. So the play with light and dark and the shadows really can enhance your images. So keep that in mind. What I'll do for this now, because when I did this, the pink one here, it was quite time consuming. So I'm going to pause the video yet again, finish doing my colors, and then I will show you the finished product. But literally all you're doing is you're making sure you get a good enough paint on the tip of your brush, And then you just go in and you create little circles or dots. All right, so we'll be right back. Okay, guys, so I'm finally done. I used a little bit of orange, the dark red or pink, and then I went in with some yellow as well, and it turned out quite nice. So this is how you do a donut. And I don't know, I think for the wording on it, I'll probably do something like sweets for my sweets or something cute and cheesy like that. We'll see. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Please, if you have any comments or questions or suggestions, please do interact with me, whether it's on YouTube with the comments below or on Instagram or Facebook, because I am on both as well. And I love interacting with you guys, and I love kind of hearing what you like, what you don't like, what works for you, what doesn't. So please keep those coming in. And yeah, guys, if I don't put out anything before Valentine's Day, I wish you guys a very happy Valentine's Day. I hope it's filled with donuts and hearts and cute little things. And again, let's just remember that, you know, it shouldn't take one day for us to sort of express our love to people. It should be every day, like every day of the year. All right. So thanks, guys, again. Love you guys lots, and we will chat soon. Bye.